This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of all things video games. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And my name is George Feis, and today, for Johnny Clash's birthday episode, we are playing Jurassic Park for the Sega Genesis. We also discussed theme park survival and a whole lot more.
And please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. And don't forget, you can get this episode early and ad-free at patreon.com/podexchange, along with the show notes, Discord access, live recordings, giveaways, and more from us and our friends. Going postal in State of Affairs. George, how you doing?
Oh, man. It's your turn, John. It's your birthday episode.
Yay.
It's a little belated by a week or so, but hey, man, happy birthday! I'm very excited to be doing this episode, this game. And you know, last episode was my birthday game. Now we get to do yours. Good time. October's always a fun time. I feel like from August through the end of the year, it's anniversary, it's birthdays, and then Gameboree starts.
Gameboree is coming up. We're going to have an announcement for that. Hopefully by the next episode, we're going to have some more stuff ironed out, when it's going to start and what we're going to do for it. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. We have a new little format I think we're going to try and
yes, sir,
hopefully streamline it and make even more dollar bills for St. Jude, as we like to do. Let's talk about last week's episode, though, your birthday episode. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, a game I never played before, but a game you had a lot of experience with. How you feel?
Ah, man, it was fun to kind of take a trip down memory lane with that game, and it was really cool to hear everyone else's either rediscovering that game after years of not having played it, or people seeing the clips that we posted on social media, and then realizing that they have seen the game and they played the game, but they never knew the name of the game, or they couldn't remember the name of the game. So that's always fun. And another little cool thing that this podcast can serve as a as a little reminder for maybe those games that you had seen and then forgot about, and then we jog your memory to bring those back into your stream of consciousness, and then maybe you go back and play them. That's always a good time. But let's talk about something that post about it on the Patreon, post about in the Discord. The State of Affairs has wrapped up season 1. Doesn't really affect this show too much, but being that we're all part of the same Pod Exchange family, we figured that we might as well announce it here, just in case you happen to not see it and you listen to this podcast. State of Affairs is going on a brief hiatus. Dylan and Joe are reworking the show. We're retrying to streamline the process, make it a more enjoyable experience for both them, so it's not as crazy for them to record, and then also more enjoyable for you guys. So be on the lookout for when we announce season 2. We'll do the same thing that we did post about on Patreon, social media, and we'll also probably talk about it here. And then we will see you guys in season 2 whenever they decide that they're going to launch that, which should be relatively soon. But man, oh man, have we touched base on everything? We talked about Gameboree. We're going to talk about that more next episode. And
take some water. Take a drink of water or something.
Yeah.
Coming for air. But we're reeling here. This is what happens when we switch to bi-weekly. Now me and George we got to get it all out, as if we don't, if I don't bother him every day anyway. But
it's all good.
Like you said earlier, we are playing Jurassic Park for the Sega Genesis. I'm tiptoeing on that diving board. I'm ready to take that deep dive. Are you ready?
Yeah, does this kind of make it like a pool party, though, since it's your birthday and we do the deep dive? Is it like streamers on the pool and stuff?
Looking to add the newest wrestling figures to your lineup? There's no better spot to pick up your next figure than the Wrestling Collector Shop.
Started by collectors for collectors around the globe, Wrestling Collector Shop has been serving the fans the latest and greatest in wrestling action figures since 2002. So the next time you're looking for the newest wrestling collectible to add to your collection, make sure to go to WrestlingCollectorShop.com and use code GameMarks to save yourself 10% on your order.
That's 10% off your order with code GameMarks at WrestlingCollectorShop.com.
As always, guys, the Deep Dive is brought to you by our friends over at Wrestling Collector Shop. You just heard the ad. Make sure to go and use code GameMarks to save yourself 10% over at WrestlingCollectorShop.com. And courtesy of Wrestling Collector Shop, we give away a figure each and every episode. So, Johnny Clash, what are we giving away this week? And what is the next giveaway?
All right, this week, the winner of the Becky Lynch is, of course, none other than Steve Hoker, who left 5 stars on Spotify. So, Mr. Steve, Becky Lynch, coming your way. Figure form. Now, this week, all you have to do is leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. Send that screenshot to us anywhere. Doesn't matter where. Could be Facebook, could be Instagram, could be Twitter, could be TikTok. Doesn't matter. You will win this Elite 109 Bailey. That's a pretty nice figure. I actually have this one in my collection, so
Look at that.
it's a great figure. So again, just leave a review and you can win it, Apple or Spotify. And some people have asked, like, can I do it on this app? Can I do it on this app? We want Apple and Spotify because those are the ones where it counts the most, and then that trickles down into the others. So let's keep it on those two, and that's the way it'll be.
We got to feed that algorithm, guys.
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to do here. All right, here we go. Jurassic Park, released August 10th, 1993 for the Sega Genesis, developed by Blue Sky Software, published by Sega, and it's a Jurassic Park game. It is a tie-in to the movie Jurassic Park, the first in the long series of games. This, man, I don't even know where to start with this game. This is your birthday game, but I also have my own experience and memories of playing this game too. So that's also this was also a fun trip for me to go back and play this game, because I can't tell you the last time that I played this.
So did you play the Genesis version?
Yeah, I had actually, my cousin had this, so we would play this at their house all the time, because it was always, we would go back and forth and see who could get the farthest, because, we say it in the playthrough, but we're going to say it here now, and I'm sure it's going to come up multiple times. This game's hard. It was hard back then.
So
it's hard now.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, I asked that because if you look at the SNES version, if you look at the Game Gear version, no matter what version you get, it's a different game.
Yeah.
They're not one and the same, which is why I specifically kept saying I want to play the Genesis version, because I knew it was different than the SNES. But I think it was crazy. I said this during our playthrough, that this movie was coming out in 93. It had such hype that they just said, we're putting this shit in action figures, we're putting this on t-shirt. Like, they went full force, video games everywhere. Now think, a video game, especially this one we have down here, it took 15 months to complete, which is a long time for back then. You had to, I guess, what did they get, an early screening of the movie? Like, let's look. I want to look up the Jurassic Park release date
Of the actual movie.
the movie. So that came out June 11th of 93. So this came out 2 months after, which is actually, I thought it would come out even sooner, but still, like, you had to put all the effort into the movie. Then the movie had to actually, like, be done for them to make a game based off of it. Luckily, there was the novel by Michael Crichton that loosely, for the most part, does follow along with the movie. And I guess they could have went off of that. But this is your typical platformer, side-scroll action game.
I mean, typical is not the word that I would use. It is a side-scrolling game, but the movement mechanics and when Dr. Grant jumps, when the Velociraptor jump, they jump like they weigh like 2 tons. They for like you can cross large gaps with ease as Dr. Grant and the Velociraptor, but when you fall like a ton of bricks. Like it is just that's the only thing that kind of throws me for a loop every time that I've played this game. Even now, it's wild.
Well, I say typical because this is the same year Aladdin comes out. Then you get The Lion King the next year. The Toy Story game somewhere in there. They're all, I'd say, it's like your typical movie-based platformer, I should say. Side-scrolling adventure. So this one is unique because it actually gives you the option to play as Dr. Alan Grant or the Velociraptor. So you don't really see that very often. And I think this is the first game to really do the antagonist and the protagonist from a movie where you could play as both sides. You're not playing the Toy Story game and running around as Sid exploding Buzz Lightyear.
No, oh man, that would be a fun episode.
That's
Maybe
a great
do oh no, I was just saying, what if we just did like a bunch of like 90s movie tie-in games, and we did, or like Disney movie tie-ins games from the 90s? We do like, Toy Story
Disney month.
Ooh, that could be a fun one.
Let's do Disney month.
That could be a fun one.
So when you start off, you do start off with only 3 lives, which is kind of because it's a very hard game, and losing all your lives make the game reset. But in between each level, you do get a password, and you can put that password in, and you can start off right where you left off. Now, I think we discovered earlier, George, it was 7 levels for Dr. Grant and 5 for the Velociraptor.
Yes, it is. It is 7. Yeah, 7 for Grant, 5 for Raptor.
Now, as someone who just played this, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try to play it to completion. The playing as Dr. Grant, I say the movement's easier, but the level itself, I think, was way easier as the Velociraptor.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you basically, in the the recorded playthrough, you basically got to the end of the Raptor level.
And that's hard. It's hard to do because you're jumping into things. There's things being thrown at you from all angles. Dinosaurs coming at you. It's crazy. It's chaotic. That's what this game is.
Yes.
Now, when you pick Dr. Grant, you navigate through the levels, and the objective is to basically get to the end. But the main objective is to reach the visitor center and escape with the helicopter, just like the movie. Now you face a lot of different type of dinosaurs. You got a little Triceratops right off the bat who doesn't actually hurt you until you try to hurt it. It's just eating grass like a nice little herbivore. Don't know if it's actually herbivore. Don't quote me on that. But you could jump over it or ride on its back. Pretty sure it is. Okay. And then you get the little pterodactyls that dive bomb you and everything. But the key here is to stockpile your weapons.
Yes.
There are weapons just everywhere. They look like little tranquilizer darts. You can get the blue one, which is, you see how excited I am? I'm just going. The blue ones where you could just pew, 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 pew. You just rapid fire them, but they do go quick and you don't get that many of them. The red ones are a little more aggressive and they take more like one shot to take you down. There's some grenades, a stun gun, and I believe there was one more. Now I can't think of it. I think a flash grenade, and there's a flash grenade and a gas grenade and a rocket launcher. And as you go, you just refill as you go, and you can refill your health and all that. What are you looking up?
I want to see if there's a full list of all the dinosaurs.
Oh. And those little mini raptors are annoying because they just come and like bite. Yeah, sure. They just come and like bite your ankles.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna tell you about playing as the raptor, because the raptor, you can now jump higher, you can go faster. When you're Alan Grant, you're a little just a little man. Now you're going after, I guess, park workers. They don't look like Grant, but you do follow him. So when you get to the end of the level, you're following him into the next level. So as the raptor, you are chasing him. You don't get weapons. You get your close range teeth and claws, and you pretty much just have to avoid getting hit with things. There's the little dinosaurs that still come after you, and then the people are shooting at you. So you want to avoid all that, but you also just attack the other dinosaurs too. So you're trying to be the king of the castle here.
Yeah, I mean, there's not, at least in this very quick search that I am doing right now, every level has unique. I was looking for a full comprehensive list, but every level has unique dinosaurs to each one. You have Gallimimus, Dilophosaurus, which are the ones that that spit. You have the pterodons, Triceratops, Brachiosaurus. There's obviously the raptor that you play as. There are so many different dinosaurs that actually appear in this game. But I will say though, they all have their unique or their own unique interactions and how they attack.
Yeah, I do have the list here. Did you get the full list?
No, you go read the list.
The whatever the one you said before.
The Gallimimus or the Dilophosaurus?
Oh, the little guys are Procompsognathus.
Okay, they're not Gallimimus. Okay.
And then the flying ones are Pteranodon?
Okay.
Or something like that. Then I'm gonna say the Dilphosaurus are the ones with the
Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Dilphosaurus, the ones with the little things coming out, the little on the side. Then of course the Velociraptor, the Triceratops, the Brachiosaurus. What?
T-Rex.
You're jumping ahead?
Appears.
Yeah, T-Rex. And then the human guards are also in there. Now, I also have the levels here. If you want to talk about those, you start off in the jungle, which is the one you're going to see in our playthrough on YouTube. Then there's the power station. Now, looking back at the power station, I do remember this, so I guess I did get past level 1 as a little child, because power station looks very, very familiar. Then there's the river, which is similar to the jungle. It's just a lot more running water.
Yep.
Then
I remember the river
station. Then the canyon, which looks a lot like the Lion King. The volcano. And then the visitor center, which is the final level. I can't even imagine on hard what that one's like.
Yeah, that is this game is up there. I mean, I said we were going to talk about it a lot. This game is up there with the likes of the classic early to mid 90s super challenging platformer games. Like, just the level design, they're so intricate and they have such cool mechanics, but they are frustratingly difficult. Like, so not ahead of the time, because there were plenty of platformers that were challenging, before these, but just, it is such a classic style with little to no checkpoints. Passwords are your checkpoints.
Which is crazy, because you fall into a bed of acid or get hit with a boulder, you're just going right back to the beginning.
Man, oh man. Now, we talked about the weapons. You gave us a rundown about that, but there is also a list of power-ups. There are mainly it's the first aid kit and the I guess like a shank of meat for the raptor that refills your health, and then only on the river where you are going down in the little like dinghy boat, you have a gasoline can that you have to pick up to then keep the boat moving.
Yeah, they just want,
man, that river, that river level. Ooh, that's such a tough one.
Yeah, crazy. But let's take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the development and the artwork. All right, George, we got some little tidbits, some little fun facts here about the development of this game. Apparently, Acclaim and Activision both put in their bids for the Genesis version, but obviously they lost to Sega. Sega wanted to publish this one on their own, rightfully so. I don't blame them. The lead artist, Doug TenNapel, that's his name, TenNapel, creator of Earthworm Jim. So, well-known.
It's a game that we should probably play on this podcast.
That's well-known fella.
Beloved series of games.
The development team visited natural history museums and zoos to study birds and reptiles for realism in this game. A little excessive, if you ask me, but maybe they just needed a day off and they went to the zoo on the company dime. Who knows? Jurassic Park was the first Sega game using Silicon graphics computers, which we know of in later games. 3D models were created using stop motion photography, and filmed dinosaur models were digitized for use in the game. Kind of like WrestleMania, the arcade game, and all that, and a lot of games back then. I'm sure they just took Dr. Alan Grant, not even the actual actor, and were able to make that model.
Oh, absolutely,
easily. I kind of like that though. I like this style a lot, like how it looks like them, but it's not. But
it's the same.
The old,
It's the same that you're not. There's a certain level of detail that you need to get in order to make the character look like the character. Now, obviously, the amount of detail that you're going to get on the short amount of pixel space that is actually the sprite of Dr. Grant, you're not going to get exactly all of those little details, but the outfit, the shape of the sprite itself, all does the heavy lifting so that you don't need those small, intricate little details on the actual character sprite. I will say, though, for the dinosaurs, the Triceratops that you see in the first level, the Velociraptor that you play as, and then even to the larger scale dinosaurs that you see later on in the game, like the T-Rex and the Brachiosaurus, the details on those are great. They're super, super detailed to the point that you can actually almost see the scaly, leathery skin of the T-Rex when you're up against it.
It's one thing I vividly remembered from playing this game as a kid, just how well everything looked. I'm a big Jurassic Park guy. I probably have said it here before. I know if anyone, all three of you have listened to Clash and Burn when that podcast was a thing last year, I took you through reading the book for the first time, which if you like the movie, the book is a million times better. They don't hold anything back. There's the book starts off with children being eaten by dinosaurs. It's hardcore, but it's so worth it.
Oh my God, what's his name? The founder, the original. He's got a much more prominent, twisted view of the park itself.
Yeah, he's a little more.
He's a much darker character in the book than he is in the movie.
Hammond, yeah, he's a little more. Yeah, he's not a good person. He's jolly in the movie to an extent. He's a complete scrub in the book. You hate him, and it's also more about. I would say a little bit more about Ian Malcolm than Alan Grant in the book. Just a little bit.
That's what you get in the second movie. It's all about.
Right. And I did start the second book as well. I never finished it. I do want to go back and do that. But it wasn't as good as the first one, so it didn't really hook me yet. I don't know. I'll continue at some point. But if you're a fan, I highly suggest it.
Let's go back and listen to Clash and Burn. Why not?
Don't do that. So what I was kind of trying to say earlier about the movie, this is an example. A $75,000 Velociraptor puppet from the movie was used in producing the game because obviously you have to digitize, Dr. Alan Grant, but you're going to have to just make the dinosaurs. So I guess that's where they got that from. They used the actual prop from the movie. Now, artificial dinosaur intelligence made dinosaurs react differently each time a level was played, which is something I'll probably never say again in the life of this podcast. And the game was developed for 15 months and was publicly unveiled at the Chicago Summer Consumer Electronics Show, say that 10 times fast, in June of 93. And that's when the movie came out. And the first film-based game to allow players to choose between playing as the protagonist or the antagonist, like we said before. Now, this is the confusing part. I said that every single console got this game, but different. The cover that we're seeing here for the Genesis is literally just the Jurassic Park movie cover across the board.
Yeah.
So no matter what console you're looking at, could be Sega CD, could be the Game Gear, could be the SNES. It's a different game, but you don't know what you're getting.
Now, I just dropped into the notes the back cover of this game. For such a wonderful, I mean, it if you're familiar with the movie, obviously now the Jurassic Park logo is super iconic. Everyone knows what it is. But in 93, the cover's not doing a ton in the sense of you're just getting the logo and some palm trees. I would expect much, much more. But then again, like you said, the movie poster is not far off from this. It is very, very similar. And I think that's, looking back, obviously hindsight's 2020. It's part of the brilliance of the marketing for this. You don't need the big welcome to Jurassic Park gate. You don't need the shot of the T-Rex animatronic or anything like that. Just hey, are you curious about what Jurassic Park is or what it means? Or if you're familiar with the movie, do you want to know what the game is like? I think it kind of does enough. But the back cover does such a complete 180 from the front. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and then of course the actual cartridge is just the same as the cover. But I'm looking here. These are the versions as far as I could see. I got the Game Boy version, which is just a black and white with like really pixelated dinosaurs and a well-detailed T-Rex. That's all you're getting here. With it looks It does not look good at all. Then the Sega CD version, well detailed, looks really good graphics, but it looks like it's first person view, which is crazy. Like the dinosaur comes at you straight on.
Yeah.
The Game Gear version just looks, I don't know, just bad. Just looks bad. And then you have, of course, the SNES version, which is more of like a 3/4 top down rather than a side scroller. So it's just preference here at this point. Whatever console you had, you're playing a different game.
Yeah.
And
that's really kind of standard for the time. A lot of companies are doing stuff like that.
That's wild.
It's hardware limitations for the most part. But the launch of the Genesis and that next level of hardware opened up a lot of new possibilities for developers to kind of push the limits of what the graphics and games look like. So even though you're making leaps and bounds for this home console version, you may not be able to push it as far. So you have to adapt and adjust to still use the same license, still deliver a quality game, but you can't deliver the exact same experience.
That's right. Now, the SNES version was actually done by Ocean, which you may recognize from, games we've played, WrestleMania and European Rampage Tour, but let's go to the art style here. We kind of just went through it extensively.
Well, wait a second. Do you want me to read what it says on the back cover?
Go for it.
So you got 4 screenshots. You've got screenshot of Dr. Grant fighting the T-Rex. You've got the Velociraptor fighting some humans. You've got the Dr. Grant fighting a Velociraptor, and you've got Dr. Grant fighting some pteranodons. And it says, plunge into a heart-wrenching race for survival. On a tropical island, a violent hurricane rips through the dinosaur preserve, trapping the tourists and freeing the most terrifying animals of prehistory. 2 bigger-than-life ways to play. Be a dinosaur as a raptor. Rampage across the island, battling other beasts and eluding the traps and weapons of your human enemies. As Grant, the paleontologist, arm yourself with tranquilizer guns, sleeping gas grenades, and dodge the slashing jaws of the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the paralyzing spit of the Dilophosaurus. 16 mammoth megs of nerve-shredding action. That's a sentence. Showcasing history's most gigantic dinosaurs, Brachiosaurus, tank-sized Triceratops, wildly vicious Velociraptors, and the flesh-ripping T-Rex.
Okay, two bigger than life ways to play. I want this in more games. How cool would it be? I know limitations, blah blah blah, disc size, game file size. you run through Gears of War, right? Now you run through Gears of War again as the Locust.
Oh,
You run
okay.
through The Lion King. Now you run through again as Scar. Like,
Huh.
I get it. You know, bad guys and such, and kids and everything. But how cool would that be?
That
Like,
would
I
be.
get it on like Gears of War multiplayer. You could be the Locust and the Horde and all that, but I want the
Yeah,
story.
that is a very interesting concept, and I'm wondering if there's.
I
So
guess
they
technically WWE does this with their showcase mode. Like, think of the John Cena one.
Yeah, and there are games that kind of like sections. Like the first one that I thought of is the opening. Been a while since we talked about this game on the podcast. The opening to The Force Unleashed. You play as Darth Vader, and then there's a
Just
jump
throwing
cut.
bodies.
Yeah, then there's a jump cut to several years later, and then you're playing a Star Killer. But a full Star Wars game where you get to play as, like, you know, a set alone outside extended universe where you get to play as Vader and some random Jedi. That'd be cool. I'd be
Maybe
down
there's
for
just
that.
no market to play as the bad guys.
I would love to play as Darth
I
Vader.
know, but maybe
would
some
be
people won't.
Amazing. Well, because there's no journey. Like,
Yeah,
you're Darth Vader. You're like the pinnacle of of Force using at that time. Essentially, like, who there's no progression. You can't unlock more stuff.
we could do a whole episode on this.
We could do another What If episode.
Does What If come back in a few weeks? I don't know, but you know what I do know. Did you know? Does that work? It works now.
That was. I'll give you a pass because it's your birthday, but that was the worst one you've done.
Did you know? Did you know Jurassic Park was the first video game to utilize Sega's new rating system, receiving a GA for general audiences?
Did you know in 1994, after the financial success of the film and its merchandise, Sega released a sequel video game titled Jurassic Park Rampage Edition?
Did you know Jurassic Park, the video game, is on eBay for $5 to $11 cartridge only, $10 to $15 complete, a WADA graded 9.2 B plus for $349, and a 9.8 for $999. Decimals matter.
Oh man, what was
Nothing I would buy.
Was it Super Mario Brothers, or no? Was it Super Mario World, or is it
The crazy one?
or Super Mario Land that had the really high one? It had to be World.
Yeah, I think it was World.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, $1,000 essentially for a 9.8 is still. Woo.
I think that, like, what's the market for that?
There are people
buys
that
that?
they want that. There's people that they want it for their collection, man.
But are you like a game enthusiast for graded games, or are you a Jurassic Park enthusiast?
Probably both. It probably goes to either one. Think of the crossover between collections and wrestling. I mean, I don't know if he still has it, but at one point, didn't Smart Mark have a graded Royal Rumble and then started getting the figures that matched the characters in that game to make like a whole shelf? Like, there are people that want, like, it's like a full display kind of piece. There was a point where Dylan was telling me that you and I should both get graded copies of No Mercy.
Yeah,
and
tell him to buy them for us.
And then we should start getting the Mattel figures of the characters. No, to which I said, they don't have Mattel figures of everyone that's in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Show me the cat's Mattel figure. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, plus the hoe. Plus, like, the gear that they're wearing. You want, like, accurate No Mercy gear as well?
Well, for some, they're like iconic. I mean, like The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold, like those Mattels exist, but I don't think you're getting a Mattel right to censor Stevie Richards.
No, definitely not. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean, as
There's a
cool as
mark-
it would be to have like that whole lineup of figures, like that would be an awesome display
That's like
piece. But there's
thousands
just
of dollars.
oh yeah, but there's just some figures that I don't see getting
No.
like.
Anyway, I don't know. If that's your cup of tea, that's your cup of tea. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Now, let's sit back. Let's relax. It's time for some R&R, some ratings and reviews. And oh boy, there's a lot of them. All Game gives us a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Computer and Video Games with a 65 out of 100. EGM with an 8 out of 10. Game Fan with a 48 to 68%. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it. Game Pro, 5 out of 5. Joypad, 85%. Player One, 82%. Video Games, 66%. I think that's a, what does that mean? Denmark or something? Publication?
Deutschland.
Electronic Games gives it a 93. Entertainment Weekly with a B+, Maniac with a 43%, Mega with a 64%, Mega Action 83, Mega Force 80, Mega Tech 77, Sega Power with a 70%, Sega Pro 85%, Sega Zone 64%, and Video Games 7 out of 10. There's that video games again, just video games. So ranging kind of from like the 70s to like the mid 80s, which is pretty damn good. There's some 5 stars in here, 4.5 stars. Now, this game approximately sold 250,000 copies in the first week, and the total was 13.8 million, which is crazy for a video game.
That's nuts.
Now, Rocky Mountain News wrote that the film had all the elements to make a video game classic. Too bad Sega didn't see that. In all of its 16 megabit Spielberg licensed, digitized, graphically detailed glory, the game still grates, bores, and frustrates. Now, on the complete opposite side, William Schiffman of the Associated Press favorably compares this game to Flashback and calls it a winner, writing that playing Jurassic Park is as much fun as seeing the movie, maybe better. Graphics are great, control is excellent, and the sound, both music and effects, is perfect. So there's two polar opposites.
I get the frustrates part.
Yeah, what game doesn't frustrate you?
It's part of the replayability you get.
The game I play every single night frustrates the shit out of me. But I'm here for it. You know?
Yeah.
Plus, unless you're like a completist that wants to go straight through, no stops, you get the code, don't you? Just pick up where you left off the next time.
Yeah.
So what's frustrating you? That you keep losing? Get better, kid. Touch grass.
There were spots in the back of the manuals, in this age of video games where there was just a notes section so that when you got the passwords, you could write them down.
That's true. And my punch out is full of scribbles. But we spoke about this game extensively. We played this game for a pretty good amount of time today. You can go check out part of our playthrough on YouTube. I'm going to go try it again after this game, but right now, it is time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash, it is your birthday episode, so you will do the honors of going first. Jurassic Park for the Sega Genesis. Will you play it forever? Or future endeavor?
I think it's a given. I picked this game, but I'm going to go with a play it forever. I surprisingly don't think I have played it since I was sitting in front of an actual Genesis in front of my large-ass TV screen. But it's something that always stuck with me, like in the back of my head, like I got to play that one day, And I'll also say this. It played exactly how I remember it. Sometimes you go back and you're like, oh, this game either sucks or this game's too hard or I don't want to play this or what was I thinking? But this game is exactly what I expected and everything was right where I remembered it. And I'm actually surprised with how much over the past 30 years I remembered. 25 years? Maybe 30. Probably 30. Shit, damn.
We're old.
We're old.
That's really
Almost
what it boils
30.
down to.
20, 28, if you want to be exact, I guess. I don't know. But all right, that's my rating. George, will you play it forever or future endeavor?
Well, I gotta say, when you told us what we were playing for your birthday, I was very excited. But then, leading up to the episode, and as I knew that we were getting closer to play it, and as the research started to happen, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how challenging and frustrating this game was as a kid. And then playing it again, man, oh man, it is the exact same way, just like you said. It's exactly how I remember it, but in a good way. It is nostalgia and challenge on a whole other level. I mean, this is a single player game. So the rule of playing it with someone, making it better, doesn't necessarily apply here. But for me, the big thing is it's such a unique experience because of the Raptor storyline and the ability to choose which one you want to play. The movie tie-in aspect of it, the fact that I also love the Jurassic Park movies, is like an added bonus on top of it. Graphically, super, I mean, we talked about it. The dinosaurs are as realistically accurate as you could get, to the point where they look exactly, almost with too much detail compared to Dr. Grant. But yeah, overall, this was a great experience. So it is a play it forever for me as well.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool.
Hey, guys, if you played Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis, or this memory jogged it back into your memory and you go back and play it, let us know what you thought, either in the comment section on YouTube or on anywhere of social media at GameMarksPod. And yeah, but John,
let's head on over to the soft lock.
all right, the soft lock is a segment on this podcast where one of our mega marks from our Patreon gives us a topic to discuss, a question to answer. It's a question of the week with a fancy name. And this week, it comes from Mr. Sean Tecker. And Tecker's question is, if you were going to be locked in a theme park that had malfunctioning robots, animatronics of some kind, and they were trying to kill you, what theme park would you pick?
Okay. So Disney's like out of the question. Imagine George Washington and John F. Kennedy like chasing you out of the presidents. Like all of the every single president literally chasing you.
Oh. I mean, Chuck E. Cheese has animatronics, but it's not a theme park. I know, but it has animatronics. It's basically the inspiration for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay, but the question specifically, just the theme park is malfunctioning. Doesn't say animatronics. I think those are just an add-on.
Yeah, so theme park, let's see. Well, Six Flags. We have, what's the horror thing at Six Flags? Fright Fest?
Fright Fest, yeah. I went. It was pretty lame.
And then they have Halloween Horror Nights at Universal.
But
doesn't have to be Halloween theme. I'm just trying to think of the, like you can't just say Six Flags, because normally at Six Flags there's nothing happening. Like there's no one walking around.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the safe bet. Or are you being strapped to nitro and you're just continuously blacking out, going on the endless loop?
What's like the really
King Dakar?
King Dakar.
The one that goes straight up and then down.
The one that was really bad? No, it's King Dakar.
I never went on that. I was too chicken.
Oh my God. The fact that every photograph of that coaster is like seemingly, I know it's not actually, is like a mile of sky above the tree line. I was like, no thanks.
I've watched it and I've like made up an excuse. Wait, hang on. King Dakar POV. Let's do it right. Let's do it right now. Do we want to go down it right now?
I don't necessarily
I'm a
know
little
if this is great content for an audio podcast, but
I'm watching. Okay.
So I mean, Epcot would kind of be great.
That's what I was thinking. You could just drink. Holy shit, this is high. Oh my god.
Epcot might
Oh
be
my
the
God.
way to go. Because Universal has too many different things. Like it's too much. There's like you would have like Death Eaters and Megatron.
That
and
sounds awesome.
Jaws. No, but everything's trying to kill you.
Yeah, well, I know the Avada Kedavra. I think I'm.
Yeah, Epcot's got to be.
I think I'm going Epcot. What's gonna get me the Nemo ride?
Well, there's the Frozen ride.
Nice. We'll be drinking around the world. Have ice cold beverages with Elsa.
No, I was to say the Avatar ride is not. That's Hollywood Studios, I think.
You know, I just saw Avatar for the first time like last year.
Thoughts?
Takes a lot to have a 3-hour movie in front of me. It was good. You know,
there's games that are out and coming out.
Yeah, it was good. Maybe if I saw it back when it came out, it would be more mind blowing. But it was just a movie.
Now you can see the new one that came out.
Yeah, probably not.
A couple years ago.
Probably not.
Yeah. So are we both saying Epcot?
Yeah, I think Epcot's a safe bet.
I mean, it's that is one. It's a great park. And two, yeah, Hollywood Studios also has Galaxy's Edge, which is the Star Wars world, and there's a lot of shit in Star Wars that would want to kill you.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
But all right. That's soft lock. That's soft lock, baby. Do the line.
Let us know what your answer would be somewhere on the internet at Game Marks Pod. And Tucker, thank you very much for that question. Johnny Clash, next episode, I am very excited because we are going back to our tried and true format, the thing that launched this podcast. We are back to wrestling, baby. Next week, we are playing Brawlers, which is a figure/card style game in the Epic Store. I think
it's also available on Prime Gaming.
Oh, Prime Gaming as well. But back to wrestling, back to cards, with a little figure tie-in. Master the cards, rule the ring, and become a Brawlers legend. Looking forward to diving back into the world of wrestling with you once again, my friend.
This one's been in my library for a year, and it finally hit that 1 year mark where I could tick it off and be like, all right, we're playing it.
This is pretty much that. Like, a lot of games are going to be hitting this between now and the end of the year. There's a lot of games that have released early on in the year or late last year that within the next couple of months they'll be up for review. And I have a list, and the list is growing. So looking forward to tackling these games over the next couple of weeks. But guys, as always, you can check out all of our video content over at youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. We have the weekly playthrough videos, GMP 24. You want to go way back in the archive and watch the first 2 seasons of GMP 64, playthrough in No Mercy. You can check out all of the Pod Exchange merch over at podexchange.shop. That is PODXCHANGE. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for all of our shirts. Patreon.com/PodExchange for this show, early and ad-free, access to show notes and exclusive content from all of the shows on Pod Exchange, at Game Marks Pod on all forms of social media. And if you could, and you want to help out the podcast, you can like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you want the opportunity to win a figure from our friends over at Wrestling Collector Shop, you want to win that Bailey figure, all you got to do is leave us a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. And if you do it on Spotify, we appreciate it. Just make sure to take a screenshot of it and send it over to us on social media at Game Marks Pod. And as always, if you have a product or service that you would like to advertise on this show, you can reach out to us over at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. Happy birthday, John. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And it's time for you to do that thing.
Game over, Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast, how can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.